Okay, so I take all three signals, the two stereo signals and the one mono, and I bring it into this line mixer here. This is not a simple system. It's not just plug and play. I've spent a lot of time trying to problem solve to figure out how I can accomplish the sounds or create the sounds that I want. So that's kind of why I'm making these videos, to explain it all. A lot of people have told me that my setup is crazy, it's too complicated, but it gives me the sounds I'm looking for. So I put up with some of the complicated issues that I have. So one problem that I do get often is that as I change presets for the pedals, I get a discrepancy in volume. Some of the presets are a lot louder than others, and that's an honest issue I have with the Meris pedals, is that just consistency of volume output. And I'm always trying to tweak them, and I'm getting better at kind of setting the volumes, but some things I just can't control. So what I've decided is, as I bring the sound into my line mixer here and into the three different channels, I send it out through a small compressor. And, it's not the best compressor in the world. It's quite frankly a pretty old and cheap compressor, but for live situations it seems to stabilize the sound a little bit better and kind of squashes down those loud peaks that I'm getting, brings up some of the quieter effects that I have. So it's doing the job pretty well for what a compressor is supposed to do in this situation. After the compressor, I send it through this stereo EQ, because sometimes I just get these overwhelming low frequencies that muddy everything up, and some of the ring modulation can be really piercing and loud, so I kind of cut out the lowest frequencies and the highest frequencies on each channel, and then I send it out through my amp. Okay, as far as sound coming out, I do use a monitor when I can. I don't use it often, but in this situation, for the session we're doing this week, I'm lucky enough to have a monitor that I can use. When I don't use a monitor, I try to hear as much as I can from my amp without feeding back, which can be an issue. But this is the amp I'm sending all the sound through on this session. It's a Motion Sound 500. It does a good job. It produces a little bit of a stereo image. Of course, when you're in the audience, you can't hear it all that much. But as we're recording, I'm taking direct outs. You can see them in the back into the house. And then that recording will be stereo out, which will help when we're editing the sound to give me a little bit of stereo image. Now, if I'm just playing in a small club and I'm just going through the amp, you're not going to hear any sort of stereo effect. But in this situation, since we're lucky enough to have this hall and to be recording right now, I can utilize the stereo effects. As we get set up here, you can see how we're set up to do some recording. There's Will's station over there. This is a beautiful hall. It's the Joan and Macon Brock Theater at the Susan S. Good Fine and Performing Arts Center at Virginia Wesleyan University. This is where I teach. That's why I have access to this hall right now while nobody else is kind of doing anything.